Hello students, today I am discussing Indian administration since independence. You know, this topic is very important. In this topic, particularly evaluation of Indian administration, there are three topics to be addressed. First, Kautilya or Maurya administration, then Mughal administration, and third, British administration. But in BPSC, there has been trend to ask question on post-independence development. That's why I am taking up this topic. This time also there is question in 64th BPSC that how the human face of Indian administration is losing due to economic changes. Amongst in 4852 BPSC also discuss evaluation of Indian administration since independence. So there has been thrust on asking question after independence. So you are required to give emphasis on this topic also. One thing more I would like to say that this topic is not properly addressed in book. So you are required to develop your own concept while going through several books and collect at a point. So this is a very important thing to be remembered. One thing more I would like to say, since I am taking classes online and I am not in direct contact with you, may be possible that you may have some problem. You may have a problem in your understanding. You may have problem in my some little bit terminology. So you do one thing. If any sort of problem, you can contact me personally. One thing I will like to say, even during offline classes, I found there are some problems, particularly public administration is technical subject. So a student takes at least 3 classes to understand me. In first class they see me. Second class they try to understand what I am saying, and then he consults book and see the things what is mentioned in the book or not. Then after he start understanding. So while taking one class or one lecture and to understand it properly, it's not possible. You require to go through or you require to listen more than twice, thrice, so that the thing must be clear very properly. So today I am discussing development of Indian administration since independence. I will like to discuss in the same way what I discussed while I was doing modern administration, Mughal administration and British administration. That I will classify the topic under following heads like development of central administration, evaluation of secretarial system, development of provincial administration, development of financial administration, development of personal administration, evaluation of local administration, development of judicial administration. In this way, I will like to discuss. Whatsoever the first portion is concerned, the development of constitutional government is not specified here, but I am discussing with you. You are not supposed to write in exam even. You are writing development of Indian administration after independence, but one should know this thing. It is related to something constitutionalism. What is constitutionalism? Constitutionalism is an ideology which believes that governance of an country should be in accordance with constitution, because if a country has to be ruled properly, there should be an effective constitution. After independence, India got the same problem. When India got independence, India was in search was requiring a stable constitution, right constitution according to which governance should take place. After independence, significant changes took place. At the same time, India got independence from colonial rule for a long period. With independence, India's responsibility to British Parliament for administrative affairs was finished. We adopted parliamentary form of government. At provincial level and central level both, and thereby responsible government in which constitutional head, governor general and governor become constitutional head, and they were supposed to act on the advice of Council of Ministers. The Constituent Assembly, which was formally constituted in 1946 on the recommendation of Cabinet Committee, got dual role in Indian Constitution Act. First, to draft constitution and to act as interim parliament till new parliament forms. So what we found that in between 1947, 15th August 1947 and 26th January 1950, the administration took place as per provision of Government of India Act 1919, Indian Independence Act, etc. What I mean to say that after independence, several things changed at the same time. India started functioning on the basis of constitution. Constitution is the supreme law of the nation. It is fountain of authority. Union legislature, executive, judiciary, state government all draw authority from constitution. Supreme Court is basically custodian of supremacy of constitution. It has power to review constitution, review as administrative act or parliamentary law, and in case of violation of constitution, it can declare null and void also. So what I mean to say, constitution has in the beginning, 395 articles, then you can say 8 schedules and 22 parts. In course of time, with passage of time, we got enormous responsibility. As a result, the number of articles under Indian Constitution increased to around about 450. The schedule increased to 12 and part increased to 25. So at presently, Indian Constitution has 25 parts, 12 schedules and more than 450 articles. Getting point? There are several important, you can say, constitutional amendment, like first constitutional amendment, like 42nd constitutional amendment, like 43rd constitutional amendment, 44th constitutional amendment, then you can say 73rd constitutional amendment, 74th one are very important one. Even you can say 42nd constitutional amendment is called mini constitution. It has added secularism and socialist term in Indian Constitution's preamble, and also added integrity in Indian Constitution. Get a point? So what I meant to say, if you see the constitutional development since independence, there you find a very sharp increase in its evolution process. Now India, after independence, managed more than 100 constitutional amendments, and now Indian Constitution is very celebrated one, very established one, and is in position to give an Indian governing system an effective one. So you have to point out all major development took place in Constitution framework. You can also point out that in 2000, NDA government has constituted a committee under Venkat Chalaya, to review Constitution, Indian Constitution, and to work out whether if there is any loose point, and to make it recommendation to make it effective one. So although due to change of government, the recommendation of Constitutional Review Commission was not accepted, but it has very far-reaching recommendation also, consequences recommendation also. Now I will club this topic: development of central administration and development of central secretary. Both are at the same place, so I can club both the things at the same place. Indian administration is area-based administration. At its apex level, there is union administration. At middle level, there is provincial administration, and at local level, there is local administration. At union level, there are both political institution and administrative system. wherever political institution is concerned, governor, a president, prime minister, cabinet ministers, council of ministers, cabinet committee, group of ministers, empowered group of ministers are important factors here. As India adopted parliamentary democracy in which governor, president is head of nation and prime minister is head of government, president is constitutional head of executive while prime minister is actual head, then you can say in India there is a parliamentary form of government in which authority lies in council of minister, but in reality it is exercised by cabinet and prime minister. So you have to narrate all the things. Earlier there was no specified strength of council of minister, but in course of time it was decided that it should not more than 15% of total strength of Lok Sabha. Then there has been also changes. In composition also, in the beginning council of minister was having prime minister as head, sometimes deputy minister also due to political reason, then cabinet minister, then state minister, then deputy minister, then parliamentary secretary. But in 1976, 67, the post of parliamentary secretary was removed, and now the deputy minister post is almost non-existent. So there are only two type of ministers: cabinet ministers and state ministers. Yes, state ministers can be classified under two heads. One state minister independent charge and second minister of state attached with a cabinet minister. So this presently we find such type of things working in India, and in general it is supposed that its strength should not exceed 15% of Lok Sabha. Getting a point? Wherever the administrative part is concerned, prime minister is head of government. So to aid and advise, there is one office called Prime Minister Office. During British period, it was, you can say, the private secretary office to Governor General. Getting point? It is very important one because it provides aid and support to Prime Minister. Getting point? Prime Minister Office has been throughout changing in course of time. Presently it become super cabinet like structure due to enormous position of prime minister itself. Then I tell you, cabinet secretary, a cabinet secretariat is another very important office at union level. It is secretariat of cabinet, union cabinet. Parliamentary democracy is also called cabinet form of government, and cabinet is basically fountain of authority which takes almost all major decisions and performs major policy decisive role at apex level. Then to aid advise, there is cabinet secretariat headed by cabinet secretary, who is the senior most civil servant of country, is the senior most IAS officer. It is in general it is said, and it is basically providing help and advice to Prime Minister in all affairs related to Union Cabinet. Then there is Central Secretariat. Central Secretariat is consisted of office of all ministry and department at central level. Getting point? So these all three important institutions play a significant role at central level. Article 77 empowers President to make rules with regard to division of work and allocation of work and work transaction. Accordingly, in India, Government of India Act 1961 determines the work allocation and work transaction of Union of Government of India work. So this is very much important point here. Get a point? So what I mean to say, that in secretarial system there has been throughout changes. In 1973, the DES system is introduced, in which different desks are formed on the basis of their competence, and relevant file are directly sent to concerned desk, so that it should not pass unnecessarily on undue file level, and take unnecessary delay. So this is basic thing. Recently, due to adoption of IT at mass level, at secretariat level also, the functioning of central secretariat changed drastically. So what I mean to say, that the central level administration is now throughout under transition, under evaluation phase, and now become very enormous one. At the time of independence, there were only 18 departments. Now it can be more than 50 or even more than 50 departments working at central level. Getting point. In last NDA government led by Modi, there were 65 ministers. Presently there is 56 ministers. So you can well imagine number of departments working under this government. So this is thing you keep in mind. Now we will discuss a development of provincial administration. You know, provincial administration what we have was developed during British rule. When India got independence, provinces were divided into heads, British province and princely states. Getting point? At the time of independence, the provinces were divided in four heads: Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. Getting point? There was thrust of reorganization of state. There was demand to formation of state on the basis of linguistic. Government was not interested at all in it, but due to political pressure, it has to accept the recommendation to formation of state on the basis of linguistic line, and Andhra Pradesh became first state on linguistic line. Getting point, presently India has 28 states, 9 union territory. Getting point, and like at central level there is also at state level parliamentary democracy, that governor is constitutional head and chief minister is actual head. Governor is also playing dual role. On the one hand he is basically constitutional head of state, on the other hand he is representative of central government also. Like at central level, at state level also there is directorate, secretariat, and there is office of chief secretary. That is very important. In India, no office can be compared with chief secretary of state wherever jurisdiction and importance is concerned. So this is very important office at working at apex level. Now, you know, that is very important in like other state. In our state also having the same administrative structure, like governor, like president, like chief minister, there is secretariat, cabinet chief secretary, directorate, everything like other state we have also. So this is thing you require to keep in mind. Get a point? In Bihar, you know, when Nitish Kumar took power, he constituted a committee under chairmanship of V.S. Dubey for administrative reform, and on its recommendation, Bihar administrative system is reorganized. Getting point? So this thing you keep in mind. Bihar adopted e-governance very effectively. That's why it has also got award for best performance in IT. Wherever finance administration is concerned, you know, finance administration structure is we inherited from British rule. You know, at the time of independence, there was Ministry of Finance, which strength or composition has been changing in course of time. Earlier, there were only 3 departments: Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Expenditure, and Department of Revenue. Presently, there are 5 departments: Department of Disinvestment and Department of Financial Services are included. This is one of the most important ministry next to Home Ministry, wherever strength and importance is concerned. Under Article 112, there is provision of annual financial statement, that is budget. President is empowered to prepare budget and present before both houses of parliament, but in practice it is presented by Ministry of Finance. Then you find in India there has been two budget system, rail budget and general budget. In 2017, rail budget is merged with the general budget, so now we have only one budget system. Then you can say in India there has been line item budget or traditional budget at the time of independence. In 1968-69 we adopted performance budget, then we also adopted program budget, zero based budget, outcome budget, gender budget. So now we have number of changes in wheresoever budgetary form is concerned. In India there has been integrated accounting audit system, and CAG was responsible for both accounting and audit. But in 1976 accounting was separated from auditing at APEX central level. CAG is relieved of accounting responsibility, and accounting responsibility is given to department and ministry directly. So this type of thing you find there is changes in financial administration. In addition to general legal audit, performance audit, proprietary audit, recently you adopted social audit also. So there has been throughout changes in the financial system at central state level both. Wheresoever finance personal administration is concerned, in personal administration we also very much indebted to British rule. At the time of independence, we have two all India services. We have central services, provincial services, subordinate services, then public service commission and state public service commission. Getting point? Wheresoever all India services is concerned, there has been lack of consensus among leaders. Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru were not in favor of continuance of all India services, while Ambedkar, Sardar Patel were in favor of its continuance. Due to personal insistence of Sardar Patel, it could continue. That's why Sardar Patel is considered father of in all India services. Now one more all India services came, so now presently there are three all India services: IS, IPS and IFS, Indian Forest Service. We have central services, we have state services, we have subordinate services, we have, you can say, class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 classification for civil services. They are also known as gazetted and ungazetted officers. Getting point. So this type of system we have in our personal system, but in course of time there has been throughout changes, particularly in recruitment, training, etc. At the time of independence, the recruitment was taking place at Kale report, but after independence in 1976 we adopted new pattern on the basis of Kothari committee, then Satish Chandra committee, Navegkar committee, Khanna committee. There are several other committee which has given several recommendations, and now we have recruitment on that. Their recommendation, training in the same way, there is significant changes on the recommendation of Ugandhar committee. First ARC, second ARC has also given valuable recommendation wheresoever personal administration is concerned. We adopted sandwich cost training on the recommendation of first ARC. In second ARC, there has been several recommendations to make civil servant responsive, transparent and efficient one. Getting point? So these are significant changes taking place in personal administration also. In future also likely to, there are significant changes is likely to be. In recent we came to know that government is going to start or going to introduce all India judicial services. So may possible that in future we may have 4 all India services and a judicial service also. Presently we cannot say anything concretely as there is no solid step in this direction. Now I will discuss evaluation of local self-government. It can be discussed under 2 heads. Getting point, local administration in rural area and local administration in urban area. You know, local administration in rural area is called Panchayati Raj, and Panchayati Raj has oldest tradition in India. You can say you can trace back to Vedic period, and even earlier also, but its present form is basically post-independent phenomena because during British rule it was largely ignored. So when India got independence under Article 40, there has been provision under directive principle to constitute Gram Panchayat and to give such amount of power so that it can function as local self unit and to in position to prepare and execute the program and policy scheme of social economic development, change and development. Bihar was first state which introduced Gram Panchayat Adhiniyam in 1947. Then, on the recommendation of Balwant Rai Mehta Committee, India adopted three-tier Panchayati Raj institution. It was started in Rajasthan, Nagaur district first of all in 1959 to 2nd October. In course of time, all states adopted it. In Bihar, it adopted in 1964. So we have also three-tier structure. But you know what happened with passage of time, momentum for Panchayati Raj got declined, and in 1980s it became dead institution. When Rajiv Gandhi came to power, he realized the importance of democratic decentralization. He tried to give constitutional status to it, but due to lack of majority in Rajya Sabha, he could not pass it. But later on, P.V. Narasimha Rao gave constitutional status to Panchayati Raj institution through 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Getting point? So in Bihar also formulated new act on the basis of 73rd Amendment Act, and first election took place in 2001. So we have now established pattern of Panchayati Raj. In 2006, Bihar changed Bihar Panchayati Raj Amendment Act and made provision of 50% reservation to women in Panchayati Raj institution. So Bihar became first state in India to introduce 50% reservation to women in Panchayati Raj institution. When government was giving wheresoever urban local governance is concerned, I tell you it was developed during British rule and continued after independence. For big towns or cities there was corporation, for middle town there was municipality, and for you can say township or some transitional area there was some improvement trust, or you can say township or cantonment area or other thing also. Getting point? So what happened when India was thinking to give constitutional status to Panchayati Raj, it was decided to give constitutional status to urban body also, because in absence of it, democratic decentralization process will not be over. That's why Panchayati Raj institution and urban body both were given constitutional amendment act, constitutional status through 73rd and 74th Amendment Act. Getting point? In 2007, Bihar enacted new law in accordance with 74th Amendment, and election took place. So in Bihar now, both Panchayati Raj and urban local body both are functioning very well, and we are moving in this way very significantly. You may find entire local area is under transition, particularly rural area is having some sort of mute revolution. You can find significant changes taking place in rural India presently. Get your point? Wherever judicial administration is concerned, in judicial administration got some, you can say, independence status after independence, as India adopted parliamentary democracy in which judiciary has enjoyed independent stature, as India has integrated judiciary also. So at the apex level there is Supreme Court, at state level there is High Court, and at lower level there is District Court. Getting a point? The judiciary draw direct authority from judiciary. It has important responsibility to hold supremacy of constitution. It protects fundamental rights given to individual and exercise control over administration. You know, the strength of Supreme Court increase in course of time. Then you also find there has been increase in number of High Court also. Then you find the IPC, CRPC also got amended in the course of time. Then court also introduced some sort of new innovation like fast track court, mobile court, then online deliberation, etc. So Indian judiciary is very much in transition, presently undergoing several significant changes. So in 1985, due to induction of PIL, public interest litigation, the judicial activism came, the proximity of general individual to judiciary, access to judiciary increased significantly. So now there is, you can say, direct relation between judiciary and public, and now there has been a role of judiciary in the ever increasing since arrival of PIL and judicial activism. So what I mean to say, after independence there has been significant changes in Indian administration in all spheres. At a point, so and still it is continuing. Once there was question in UPSC last time in 64 UPSC that due to economic changes, the human face of Indian administration is losing. What you are going to write? You can say yes. In India, 1947 adopted welfare state. India adopted socialistic pattern of society. India adopted planned economy. India started several social welfare schemes. India adopted, you can say, established one public undertaking to give several social responsibility. Then in 1990s, due to emergence of LPG, economic reform started, and as a result, 21st century also the same situation continued. Now due to emergence of market culture, increasing role of private sector and multinational companies, the human face seems to be affected. Government undertook several steps with regard to disinvestment and privatization, mechanization and automation of administration also caused some sort of jolt to human face of Indian administration. Presently, the government thrust was on growth without employment, so this is also reducing employment scenario. On the other hand, government is gradually reducing subsidy. Market has brought several changes, like it increased consumerism, it caused customer client orientation, then it has created some of digital divide between India and Bharat. So what I mean to say, that due to several changes, the human face of Indian administration got affected, particularly the changes caused by economic scenario, but it is only half part of picture. The second half part is something different. You know, in 1990s and afterwards, there has been significant changes on other dimension also. As right issues become very important, we started giving right to education, right to information, right to government services, right to public grievances. Then we have started direct benefit transfer scheme. Then we have given Jan Dhan Yojana and Aadhaar link and social and development, social and welfare program. Then Atal Pension Yojana, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Yojana, Ayushman Yojana. There are several schemes which are taking care of general individual. There is corporate social responsibility for multinational company and private sector to take care of public cause also. Then emergence of RTI, citizen charter, Lokpal, e-governance. You cannot say that human face of Indian administration is lost. Rather, you can say yes, to little extent it was affected. But you know, in Indian scenario, the human or welfare aspect has been always important, and however the approach to human welfare has been changes. So it can be that the approach orientation can change, but you cannot say that human face will become meaningless, or you can say we will divert of this our objective in resolution. We are very much committed to our socialistic pattern. We are very much committed to welfare state. We are very much committed to downtrodden section of society. So, due to economic changes, it can be virtual effect, but in reality, the approach has changed, orientation has changed, but human face of Indian administration is still continuing and will continue. So you do one thing, you write one question, try your own, and I will like to say that consult books and try to narrate your own, because I know that in book you are not going to get proper material. So you listen my lecture once, twice, thrice, as much as possible, then consult book, then consult net, and then try to write and post to me. And if you have any difficulty, please contact me. You may have some difficulty, I know personally, but that is if you have problem, and if you will not ask me, then how I can come that you have problem. So if you have problem, please inquire me, tell me, complain me even. I will try to correct it. No problem. Thanks. Enjoy.